Good morning, everybody. Welcome to First Center, First Church of Religious Science here in New York City. I want to give a special welcome to all of you who are on Zoom with us today. We've been over 100 most Sundays lately, and we're growing quickly. In part, it's because our tech staff here, they're doing wonderful things. They've created on our YouTube channel, we have live TV. By that I mean there's lessons going on 24 hours a day where you can tune in, and most likely you'll have other people there at the same time who are making comments, watching our self-healing work. And that's bringing in yet another audience. So we have those of you who have found us through Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and now it's kind of cool. You can go there 24 hours a day, and as you watch, you can be interacting with others and seeing their comments and comment and share with them. So I invite you to go do that. This is something that we've just begun, and it's already catching on. So good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the center here in New York. This is the place where Ernest Holmes directed Raymond Charles Barker to come start a chapter of religious science, and we're now housed on West 84th Street. Our center is also the center where Louise learned about science of mind, and where she got her information that became she did her field studies for the book You Can Heal Your Life. So we're here, we're teaching the same material, though we're teaching it probably in a different way. We're in the 2020s now, and as Raymond Charles Barker always said, we are a today people, and I'm sure if he were here in the 2020s, he would be presenting the material in a different way, trying to reach a new audience. So our center is growing, we're evolving. We have some of you in the audience are in different countries all over the world. Those of you who are now watching on YouTube live TV, around the clock, different languages. We have a couple of people now starting to work on translations for the people who are listening from in different parts of the world. I have a little poem today. Today, our lesson is going to be about extending love and kindness, and so there's a theme here. Our poem is called Whispered Legacy, and it starts out by saying, in the vast expanse of human history, among the tales of might and mystery, it's the whispers of kindness, subtle yet grand, that echo the loudest across the land. Not the clash of swords, nor the roar of guns, but the gentle touch when the day is done. A smile, a gesture, a word so sweet, makes the heart's rhythm joyously beat. For in kindness we found a powerful tool, a shimmering, boundless, infinite jewel. It bridges divides, it mends what's torn, lights up the darkest, coldest morn. Though its presence may be soft and hushed, its impact is deep, like a river rushed. Kindness transforms, renews, and mends, creating ripples that never end. In the grand tapestry of time and space, kindness shines brightest with timeless grace. For in the end, when stories are spun, it's the acts of love that outshine the sun. Remember always to be kind and true, for kindness given returns to you. In every gesture, in words we say, let kindness guide, come what may. So I hope you enjoyed that little poem. I'm going to segue into our talk about kindness and how kindness can brighten. It's the gift you can give yourself, because as you extend it, of course, you're the main beneficiary of it. we're all about appreciating love in the moment, because we know spirit is alive in every moment. And so we're always remembering that. We're always coming back to remembering who we are. We are one with the spirit, one with God. And as we remember and we fill ourselves up with this awareness of love, it's very easy to extend it, right? So we always want to come back if we can. Start our day over, start our moment over. Let go of the past, right? So we can get back to what we'll call the holy present. The holy instant is, it's called in different books that I'm familiar with. Louise Hay said many years ago that love is never outside of you. It's always within us. And see, there's the thing. People have a tendency, they look for it in other people and situations. And the thing to understand always is, it's here, it's now, it's in you, operating through you. I know Lady V is going to do a presentation for us. I won't give it away in another few weeks. And in it, you're on a journey. And you're looking always and everywhere for something. But in the final analysis, it's always here. So that's all I'll say about it, because I don't want to give away her presentation. But back to Louise Hay. Love is never outside ourselves. It's within you. It's a part of you. You are one with love. You are one with divine energy. Please don't wait for other people to give you love or extend love to you. Other people, don't wait for people to be compassionate, grateful, or forgiving, generous, friendly. If you're in this teaching, I was told this to one of my sisters years ago, because she was waiting for somebody to make the first move. And I said to her, if you have the consciousness, if you understand this idea that we're all one with one another, I think it was my sister Debbie, I said, it's incumbent upon you to extend it. I said, you can't wait for the other person to catch up with you in that way. If you have the consciousness of connection and love, and you can see past the mistake or the grievance, I said, you're the one who has the consciousness, so naturally you must reach out. You must connect. That's assuming you want to be in connection. And those of us who are in this teaching really are people who want to be in connection. We know that connection is the truth. We know that we're one with one another. So logically, if we know that we're united, we're one with one another, then we can't maintain separation. And by that, I'm not saying you have to be friends with everybody. There's a lot of people that, are in an entirely different place than you, and it's proper and appropriate for you to, have physical space between you. But the thing is, we always want to remember that we are one with everyone. Even if people, we have issues with, they're still children of God, one and all. And we want to see them rightly. We want to see them as individualizations of this God energy, just as we are. And the right way to see it is to understand that these people that we have a tendency to want to judge are really doing the best they can. They're evoluting, as we say. They're evolving. They're growing. They may not be where you want them to be or where you would like them to be right now. They are where they are. That was something for me to learn when I was learning religious science. And I've said it in other lessons. Bill Tolliver used to say, Dr. Bill, whatever is best. And you might have to think about that for quite a while. It's just like whatever is evolving and in the moment, it's life doing its thing. You might not like where you're at right now, but where you are is something special. You have evolved to the place where you are in space and time, and you've learned a lot. And you're not finished yet. Each of us are human beings. We're spiritual beings, and we're growing. As spiritual beings, we've incarnated on the planet, and we're here to grow, to learn lessons, to evolve. So as we think of people, we understand, and when they're in different places. Wherever they are is perfect. We say perfect time, perfect place, perfect time, all the time. And what that's really saying is, everything in life is unfolding in divine order. And I know that those of us who are on this call who really understand the deeper meanings of this teaching, we have such a tremendous gift because we can lay down the sword. We don't have to be opposing anything. We don't have to be fighting anything. We can truly see peace. We can always see peace instead of whatever it is. We don't have to be stuck. The expression, I'm stuck on stupid. Maybe I should not say that in a Sunday service, but the thing is, we don't have to be stuck. We don't have to have judgment and angst and anger, because we know that everything is God in action. We know everything is spiritual activity. We know that there's a great symphony in life. It's on such a majestic scale that none of us could really comprehend it. But everything from the stars, and in the galaxies, the constellations, to the inner workings of our own bodies, there's such intelligence, and there is this activity, this energy that animates all of life, and we're awake in it. You can say to yourself, I am an activity in the mind of God. I'm a point of awareness within the mind of God. I'm a point of knowing, and life responds to me. My goodness, you don't have to pray to any God above, because your thoughts are reflected. Your thoughts and beliefs are mirrored in your life. If you have a whole bunch of things going on within you that are positive and kind, today's word is kind, if you're extending that in your thoughts and your heart, if you're extending that, then it comes back to you. It becomes mirrored in your life. You'll see it everywhere. If you're in a place of constriction, which a lot of people are in a place of constriction and judgment and fear, that's where you are. And, there's no right or wrong to it, but that is reflected to you also. So we're wanting to step up. We're wanting to level up. We're wanting to hitch our wagon to the stars. So we're always in the business of trading in these lesser states of consciousness. As soon as we find that we're in them, because we don't plan to put ourselves, in lesser states of consciousness, but when we find we're there, we want to immediately level up. We want to remember that we're one with the one. We want to remember that we're supplied and supported. And as we do, we go high, right? The first thing you've heard before, charity begins at home. Well, be kind to yourself. Louise would say, never, 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 never do it. She would say, never criticize yourself. Stop it. Stop in the name of love. Pull out the Diana Ross. Stop in the name of love. Wherever you find yourself being critical of yourself, stop. Wherever you find yourself using the word should and you're pointing a finger and say you should have done this, you should have done that, no matter if you're speaking to yourself or you're speaking to others, all these different forms of critical thinking, judging, we want to have the kindness within ourselves to just release the need to do that. We want to understand that we're evolving. We're here to love ourselves more and more and more, and we're here to extend that love and that kindness to others. We're learning to come from connection. That's a great phrase. I learned that one the hard way. I had a gifted teacher who would always ask me and others in that particular group, are you coming from connection right now or today? So I had to think about that. Am I coming from a loving place? Am I coming from a place where I'm seeing the good in everybody? Or do I have an agenda there? Am I annoyed and I'm critical and I'm just, am I reacting to something? So we want to come from connection. If you're on this call, you're learning to love yourself more, and you're attempting to see the good in life and in others. So we come here, we learn to be kind to ourselves, we learn to be kind to others. We come here to learn to be in connection and love every single moment as we can. We're here to be lifters. We lift ourselves up, and as we do, we can lift up others. There is an important book, probably many of you haven't read it because it's been around for a while, from Erich Fromm, and it was entitled The Art of Loving. And in his writings, his main idea was love was an art to be learned. He said we're not naturally born with it, and so it is with kindness. Kindness is an art to be cultivated. That's probably true. You hear me talk about Benjamin Franklin often with his almanac and practicing a virtue. So kindness is probably one of these virtues that we cultivate and we practice. So kindness begins with yourself. Like Louise Hay would say, the bottom line for everybody is they didn't love themselves enough. They didn't feel good about themselves. So you're not being kind to yourself, and if you're not being kind to yourself and you're not loving yourself, you're probably not extending that as much as you would like to others. Kindness in a family is learned, Mr. Fromm said, by the way parents treated each other. Parents, grandparents are the people who raised you, and the way they treated one another. And even if we are so unfortunate as to have come from a home where there wasn't a lot of kindness, it still can be learned. So here we are, we're all modern day truth students. There's no excuse for us to stay repeating these cycles and staying stuck. Now, we might have family patterns, and we might have learned a lot of things. In our family, our family might be competitive, it might be critical. You might have grown up with a lot of people who didn't know how to extend love. And I know that's true for many. You didn't get everything, right? But you got enough. I've been reminded over the years, you got enough to get you into a place like this. And if you're in a group like this, then you're definitely on your way towards self-love, self-appreciation, and a place where you can extend it to other people. So there's no excuse for staying stuck in yesterday. Why? Because, as Raymond Charles Barker said, we are a today people, and we're working with today. And I'm going to say for all of us, we release the junk, we release all that debris, the self-imposed nonsense of the past, so we can be in a new moment today, realizing everything's possible. So we begin by recognizing that kindness is a reflection of the divine spark within each and every one of us. I'll say that again. Kindness is a reflection of the divine spark which is within each and every one of us. Every act of kindness is, in essence, an act of recognizing this divine presence. Every time you extend it, you're recognizing this divine presence in another being. When you're showing kindness, we're acknowledging the interconnected web of life, and we're understanding that our actions, no matter how small they are, have the power to create ripples in life, in this great ocean of existence. Moreover, kindness is not just about our actions. It's an inner transformation. It's a conscious choice for us to come from that place where we're warm and we're connected. And even when other people are being indifferent to us, we can tap into our own reservoir of compassion and empathy in every situation. We can see peace instead of, you can be in tough circumstances and still be the one who carries that idea of peace and love within you. So we can become a beacon for others and help guide other people toward the path of love and understanding. So it's a practice. The same way the teaching is a practice. Living the affirmative life is a practice. It becomes not just an act. It becomes a state of being where we're continually showing love and compassion from our heart to the world. To truly embrace kindness, we must embark on a journey of introspection. In other words, every Thursday I ask you, what's it been like being you? That's part of the question. And, are you being kind to yourself, your thoughts? Are you extending that kindness to others? So we do a little bit of introspection, kind of like the 12-step programs do inventories. And in the process, we look at the shadows within us where we might have a touch of prejudice, anger, ignorance, the different things that come up. And when they come up, we have the willingness to let them go so we can allow the light of kindness and love to illuminate our path. And where do you start? Pretty obvious. We start wherever we are. Louise Hay often said, we repeat, she said it's like cleaning a house. You begin wherever you are, thought by thought. Where you have a tendency to react or judge, stop. Stop in the name of love. Just be silent, extend love. If you're persistent and you're patient with yourself and you're willing, you'll master this. You'll master the art of kindness a lot quicker than you might think you would. And as you continue to do the work, seeing the God in the good and extending kindness towards others, you're not going to just transform your own life, but you're going to be transforming life around you. You hear us say, we do the work. We practice being alive in the moment. We practice coming from love. We practice coming from compassion. This isn't just an art, it's a commitment. I hate the word discipline. I hated it as a kid anyway. But it's a spiritual discipline. It's a commitment to look beyond the surface of things and to reach into the awareness that every human being, is a divine person. We think of namaste, it's that greeting where the part of me that's whole and wonderful and spiritual, I'm acknowledging, I'm seeing it in you. We want to get to the point where we see that God, that good in everyone all the time, and where we truly understand and connect with one another on that level. To do that, we must be willing to move beyond our immediate concerns and self-preoccupations. Mr. Fromm said service of every kind and any kind can become a bridge. Wherever you find yourself giving of your time or your talent, just saying thank you to people and I appreciate you. And any way you can extend that light and be a lifter. However, wherever you do that in your life, it's a pathway to growth and maturity. It draws us out of our own individual bubbles and self-absorbed places, and it connects us into the broader tapestry of life. Ralph Waldo Emerson suggested very bluntly in one of his essays that we ought to try to get our bloated nothingness out of the way so we can tap into the divine currents that flow within all of us. So you can get all caught up with yourself to the point where you're oblivious to the world itself and people. One of the examples for today's lessons, you can imagine yourself walking into a store and you encounter a very indifferent, if not rude, salesperson, right? They don't care if you're there or they don't even acknowledge your presence. Maybe you'd say it's Walgreens, but it could be anywhere. And you'd say to yourself, why is this person even here? And you get it, you start tripping and they're not giving you any attention, they're making you wait, they're on their cell phone, whatever it is. And then who's got the problem? Obviously I got the problem. Dr. Bill used to give lots of examples, like he would lose his cool in all these different situations in banks and stores and stuff. And then he'd realize, who's got the problem? He has the problem. We have the problem when we're losing our cool, when other people aren't living up to our expectations. With a small shift in perspective and with some empathy, and understanding, we can change a lot of that. You might see that same person, this imaginary person, and we might think for a moment, maybe this person has had some personal challenges this day, or they're grappling with family problems, financial problems. She or he could be brokenhearted. They could be worried about their kids, anything, right? But in our mind, we've already, we're not extending kindness. What we're doing is we're just upset because they're not doing what we want them to do or behaving in the way we think they ought to. The trials and tribulations that each person faces are vast and they're varied. It's a profound truth that everyone is going through something. Because we're in life, and life is about learning, right? So everybody has things that they're dealing with every day of their life. And people are going through heartbreaks, they're going through health challenges, personal struggles, and we can't ever know. It's like when people say, I know what you're going through, I listen when I hear that. And the fact is, nobody really ever knows what someone else is going through fully. So we want to be careful not to rush to judgment and react in impatience when we're in these situations. And if we can take that pause that we talk about to remember this universal truth that we're all one, and everyone is doing the best they can, even the people in those instances I just referred to in these service industries. If we can take that pause, it would be very helpful. Because our impatience and quickness to judge, especially in today's divisive world and times, can overshadow our capacity and our desire to experience and have goodwill. Even simple differences today, like political affiliations, become barriers. But if you can take that pause and reflect and choose empathy over judgment, we can start to honor the time shared human experience and foster a deeper understanding of our connection with life. I have a lot of people that, in my world, they don't want to talk to each other. Political things are one thing that really stop conversations. It would be really great if people could learn to listen to one another more and judge less, extend kindness more. And it always begins with ourselves. An example that came from one of Barker's presentations, he was talking about his choir at the time, but since we don't have a choir, I'll talk about something else. We now have a production company because we're putting out, 150 different production pieces, lessons a year. So a couple of the guys are here right now. Imagine you might be one of the production people at the center. A couple of them are here today. And you might not like the way the production is going, and you have different ideas for programming and classes, and that's understandable. And I appreciate it because I can see where some of our programs, could benefit from some changes too. Because now we have, again, the responsibility of broadcasting approximately 150 inspiring messages of a half an hour or more every year. And we have to keep them varied. We have to keep them enlightening. We have to keep them educational, inspirational. And so it's a bit of work. And we aim to, as much as possible, to please people. And that's not possible to please everybody. So you can imagine what that's like. We must, here at the center, like you in your own life, we must love ourselves enough to carry on, to keep going, realizing that not everyone's going to like or approve of everything you do or say. And then there's a whole group of people who are tuning in like they are now, around the clock, on YouTube TV, and they're commenting. See, some of the comments aren't wonderful because, what we say is revolutionary to many people. Not everyone's going to approve of what you say or what we say or teach. So we move on, we carry on. We all do the best we can in every area. And we really want to come from, and our desire here at least is to come from connection as much as possible, all the time, and come from kindness. We're not here to offend anybody, right? So the message today for all of us is kindness will grow with practice. And it really, I'm hoping it becomes a real desire for everybody to practice the teaching more, practice coming from connection. Practice coming from connection means practice coming from God awareness. And if you do, you're going to be coming from kindness. And it begins with your desire to do so, your desire to change. When we're centered, we want to listen to other people. We want to listen to other people that we don't understand. And we want to at least try to gain, we want to try at least to gain some understanding of their perspective. Again, like politically, if we're just reacting to one another and we're in disagreement all the time, what good is in that? What would it be like for us if we could just listen and learn where people are coming from? I think the country could do so much good right now if people would just listen to one another and we learn, where people are coming from. It troubles me that, the whole nation is polarized. And I always think that's unfortunate when communication breaks down in a nation or within relationships and when there's no kindness. And I imagine, I ask, what would it be like right now if people could be kinder and just begin listening to one another? The obvious thing is, if we did that, we'd begin to learn that there's another side to every story. And we would learn what the other side is. And then we could probably develop some empathy for each other. Developing kindness can bring us back to the realization that we are all one. You might say, it can't heal the world. True enough. But you can heal your world if you come from kindness, if you come from connection, if you come from the awareness that God is all that there is, and you extend that awareness in your day-to-day living, you'll heal a lot. If collectively, a group of us, say the group of us on this call or the people watching us on YouTube TV, or individually making the effort to come from kindness and to listen to one another, in effect what we're doing then is we're laying down arms. We're not part of the fight. We're helping heal the world. I think we could all work on it. I know I could work on it. I'm better than I used to be. That'd be true for all of us, right? But there's more I could do more. I remember that came from Oprah years ago. She was going to quit doing her show, and she came on, it was the next season, and she said, I'm in. And she said, we can do more. And I think that's true for every one of us that's breathing. We can do more. There's more to work on. Week after week, I present a simple idea when I say to you, I could see peace instead of this. Okay? I can see peace instead of anything. That's my job, is to see the God in the good. Not just my job as minister, but that's our job as practitioners, to see the God in the good. When? Now. Where? And I say in every situation. Those are the people who are the ones who bear the light. You're not caught up in the mess. Any fool in the world can react to anything, and they do. Bill Tolliver used to quote Albert Camus, and say, the masses are blankety blank. And then he would go on to say, the masses are always wrong. And Emerson was always talking about the individual thinker. Well, I know on this call today we have a lot of individual thinkers. And I know that you can if you want to. If you really want to, you can see peace instead of anything. And you can come from love and kindness. You can make that your spiritual practice. I refuse to be offended. That comes from the Four Agreements. And I intend to, come from a place of connection and peace. I can see peace instead. I can be kind. There's an awful lot of fault finding going on in the world, and you don't have to participate in it. say that again. There's a lot of fault finding going on in the world, and you don't have to be a participant. You're here, you can extend love. You can know in your heart and your soul that everyone's evolving and doing the best they can. Some of you may recall a lesson I did a while back. It was on attitudinal healing, which I'm very fond of. And I want to bring in a couple ideas from that talk. Attitudinal healing and the shift from fault finding to love was a part of that talk. Attitudinal healing at its core emphasizes the transformative power of love and perception. Fault finding, or the act of incessantly seeking flaws, making judgments about the imperfections in others, is not merely a passive behavior. It's an active choice that will determine your experience of the world. So it isn't such a passive thing if you're incessantly seeking flaws and judging life and people, right? It's an active choice that determines your experience of the world. When we choose to see through a lens of criticism, think Louise Hay, should. When we choose to see through a lens of criticism, we inadvertently place barriers between ourselves and the innate love that binds us all together. These barriers, however subtle, cultivate feelings of separation, judgment, resentment, and often breed a cycle of negativity. So all that stuff just, wreaks havoc in your life. And the enlightened way is by making a conscious shift from fault finding to recognizing and appreciating the goodness in others and seeing the good in situations. If you just determine to see the God in the good, it's akin to choosing light over darkness. When we extend kindness, we're acknowledging the inherent worth of every human being. You don't have to agree with them. You can still extend love. And we're acknowledging, and you want to understand them more, right, rather than judge them. When we extend kindness, we acknowledge the inherent worth of every individual, and we're cultivating an environment where understanding and compassion can happen, can flourish. Rather than fixating on what's wrong with them or their views, we can choose to focus on the potential, the growth, and the shared values and shared things that we care about. If we start to do this, not only will we be uplifting other people, but we'll also be paving the way for our own internal healing and our own peace. This kind of shift, the shift in our perception, is the work we do. We're here to be lifters. We're here to lift people up. We're here to be the applauders. They used to tell me that's what we do here. We practice seeing the good in others and ourselves. The shift in perception is the work. Keep seeing the good and keep knowing that God is here, Spirit is here, that we live, move, and we have our being in this divine stuff. It's our thinking and it's our attitudes, more than the circumstances, that determine our experiences and our relationships. By choosing to see the good in the God, we actively invite love into our awareness. By choosing to see the good in the God, we're bringing positivity into our lives. We cultivate kindness just as we cultivate a sense of beauty or an appreciation of art, or music, or anything else. It takes practice, it takes effort. Make no mistake about it. It does require work. I could see peace instead of this, right? But if you do it, if you keep working at it, it's like keep living the affirmative life, keep seeing the good. Gradually, you're going to find your life flowing easily, effortlessly, kindly, and lovingly. And it just comes back to you all over the place. Maybe we need some type of a miracle in our hearts. Some of the wise, we're thinking of Jesus and others in religion, say it all begins in the heart and flows outward. It was he, I think, who was criticizing the high priest because their hearts were cold. And they were all caught up with the law, the old law. And they judged and they condemned others who were not following the law. And this particular teacher was critical of the cruelty and the insensitivity of the law. And that story, to the extent it was true, because we're going through translations over centuries, it was the kindness and the sympathy and the empathy that he had, which came through time and time again. So we learn it here too, many centuries later. Same idea, the importance of coming from connection, coming from love, and coming from that centered place of knowing. There were other examples in the New Testament too. Someone was washing Jesus' feet, and he essentially said, "Leave her alone." He saw her as being a kind and loving person. And he also saw the hard heart of the person who was being critical. And, and as I reflected back on this story, well, the person who was being critical might have been right. You realize that a person can be just as right as they are, but they can still be mean and cruel. So as you're thinking about your own life, it comes up that idea, which I pick up from Louise also. If I had to choose, I would rather be a kind and loving person, and sometimes wrong, than to be unkind and always right. Many of our lessons, we ask the question, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? So, as we mature, we see people who are doing things we don't like. We don't have to be the fault finder, right? We could be silent. We could realize that this human being that we're about to straighten out or judge is doing the best they can. We don't have to be the fault finder. We can understand that everyone, we're all evolving. So, there was an expression from 12-step programs years ago that, you don't have to straighten everyone out. There is this one energy, this one God, and everyone is learning their own lessons. So if given the choice, what would you rather be? I'd rather be happy, right? Next part of our lesson comes the question, what's the finest gift you can give, say, a child? Fame and fortune? No. Wealth? No. A fine education? Maybe. If you could teach your children or grandchildren something, and if you can teach them somehow to extend and give them a great idea, it would be to teach them how to live with compassion, to teach them how to live with kindness and develop a loving approach. That would be quite a gift to pass on to a child. Kindness, again, is an art that can be learned. And we teach it here every single week. If you keep on extending kindness, and I know some of you very well that do this, I can think of 3 or 4 of you right off the top of my head. If you keep on extending this love and kindness, you're going to have demonstration after demonstration. It will run over, and you'll see an outward manifestation of it all throughout in every area of your life. So I want you this week, everybody, to think about this idea of extending love and kindness and coming from connection, so we can allow the awareness of spirit, this knowledge of this ever-present spirit, fill you up and fill you with empathy for people so you can listen to them and not judge them. And as we join, we can sense the connection that we know. All of us are individualizations of love and light, and we're part of this energy of love, and we can extend this, and we do that. We can extend this empathy to others who we know are in different places on their journey of self-realization. See, all of us are on a journey, a spiritual journey towards greater self-awareness, greater realization of self, meaning I am one with the one. And all of us are waking up to the fact that I am, meaning we all are, individualizations of this one energy. And I have about 5 or 6 great quotes I want to close with today. The first one comes from Mother Teresa. She said, "Spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier." Now, I could end this lesson with that one. That's great. Spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. But I have a couple more. Mark Twain said, "Kindness is the language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see." I thought that was equally beautiful. And then we'll move on to Dalai Lama, who said, "Be kind wherever possible." And then he said, "It's always possible." And we want to include Aesop's fables, right? No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted in life. And then R.J. Palacio said, "When given the choice between being right or being kind, choose kind." One of my father's favorites, Henry James, wrote, "3 things in human life are important. The first is to be kind. The second is to be kind. And the third is to be kind." And we have Maya Angelou next, who said, "People will forget what you said. They will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel." Lao Tzu said, "Kindness in words creates confidence. Kindness in your thinking creates profoundness. Kindness in giving creates love." And I'll end here with our quotes by Martin Luther King Jr. rather. I'm going to paraphrase it. "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only kindness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only loving kindness can do that." So that ends it. We have a brief poem, and I'll give you that. My quotes are over. It's entitled "The Echoes of Kindness." In a world that's vast and endless, where the noises often blend, there's a whisper soft and gentle. It's the echo of a friend. Not just in mighty actions or in deeds of great renown, but in quiet, small compassion, where true kindness can be found. It's the hand that's ever reaching to lift others from the ground. It's the voice that's ever soothing, where the balm of love is found. In the face of pain and darkness, kindness shines its light so bright, turning tears into a rainbow, chasing shadows with its light. For each act of love and mercy ripples out in circles wide, touching hearts and changing fates in its gentle rolling tide. So when life feels overwhelming and the world seems cold and vast, be the kindness that you seek. Be the love that'll ever last. And last idea, remember, kindness doesn't just impact the person you're being kind to. The greatest beneficiary of kindness, of course, is going to be to the giver. So be the person who extends it, right? It will mostly impact you, the giver, creating a ripple effect that will ultimately influence many. And so ends today's lesson. I'm looking forward to hearing from everybody. Jimmy's here to help moderate the morning. And again, I want to invite all of you to get the information to go to our YouTube TV channel, and you can watch any of our lessons around the clock and interact with all kinds of people too. So we're going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back. Thank you.